Hey everybody, it's time to swing with Still Swinging, and I'm your host, Thomas. And today, family, we talking about my boy P Diddy. P Diddy had a trying last 12 months. He been took through the ringer. Look, family, he finally got him some relief this week in court. And look, I was really happy. All right, the jury saw this case for absolutely for what it was. That this man was on trial fighting for his life for a big party. All right, a party that clearly all of them was participating in. All right, and if you know anything about U.S. District Court and federal jury instructions, you can bet they tried 1,000 ways from Sunday to make this fit when it just didn't fit. Okay, the jury saw it for what it was, an absolute dog and pony show to the likes of which I have never seen before. Okay, this man was fighting for his life for a big party. Okay, the jury didn't see victims. They seen willing participants, all right, who now was victims because that's what the prosecution was saying they was. But the jury just didn't see it that way. If they found him guilty of the lesser two, you can bet he wasn't supposed to be found guilty of any of it because they would have done anything they could to make sure he didn't get found innocent of any of it. Everybody that go to trial in U.S. District Court trying to do what Diddy just accomplished. All right, what Diddy just accomplished, he beat the worst cases. All right, and got found guilty of the two lesser cases, which let me know if they found him guilty of the two lesser cases, he should have been found guilty of any of it. All right, but listen, these F-nists don't feel that way. These F-nists are up in arms. Okay, this big bad brother, this monster, he did it. He did it because these women said he did it. All right, listen, the Caucasian ladies, the African American ladies, these F-nists are up in arms about Diddy. All right, so without further ado, family, I'm gonna let these ladies give their spill, and I give my assessment along the way. Fair use, family. Fair use.
For you, New York Times reporting, this won't surprise you. Combs's body language is totally different from yesterday when he seemed crestfallen and grim after the jury said it had reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts. Now, acquitted of the most serious charges, Mr. Combs appears energetic and relieved. Can we just talk about, here's the picture, here's the sketch artist's picture of Combs yesterday, of the grimness, and I'm sure we'll get one today of him looking much more relieved. I'm so confused about, here's a little bit more, New York Times, with a touch of levity. The judge said he assumed Combs would not want to return to the Brooklyn jail where he has been held. Combs shook his head vigorously and put his hands together in prayer. Oh, it's all just so chummy inside the courtroom for this disgusting pervert female abuser who I can't believe is about to roam our streets again. I'm sorry, I'm disgusted by this verdict. This is fucking ridiculous. I just find it absolutely outrageous, the amount of crime that this guy just got away with. I believe he committed arson. He definitely battered Cassie. He battered Jane too. The statute of limitations for battery in Los Angeles and California is 1 year. 1 year. So if they didn't charge him for battery within 1 year, and they couldn't because he bought the tape and it remained hidden thanks to those security guards out there, then they could never charge him with that again. There's no question. He dragged her back into that hotel room. Why wasn't that kidnapping? They only talked about the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark, who was his sort of main assistant, because she said he grabbed her and made her go with him over to Kid Cudi's house. There's no question he broke into Kid Cudi's house, in my view, and that he opened up the Christmas presents and locked the door in and made a threat. There's no question in my mind he was behind the arson of Kid Cudi's car, and there was proof, plenty of proof to prove that. No, okay, there was female fingerprints they found on that, the firebomb that was left there, the Molotov cocktail. And the prosecution said there's no question he didn't do it himself, but he said, I'm going to bomb Kid Cudi's car. It's in writing. Cassie Ventura emailed her mother saying, oh my God, he's threatening to bomb his car. And 2 weeks later, it got bombed. Oh, gee, it was just some third party who also had, it's just like the proof was there.
What a lady. soft and warm, inviting, feminine, friendly. Oh, the language is just poetic, ain't it? What a catch, guys. Hell of a prize. But anyway, look, she mixing all of this stuff in the to fit a narrative. All right. Most of this stuff she talking about, he ain't even accused of. All right. And she mixing it in with stuff he was accused of. And listen, that brother done this from the minute these ladies said he did. Okay. It's no such thing as a lady who said a brother done something and he didn't do it. Of course he did it. What you need his side of the story for? He's a liar. Of course he did it. No, this wasn't a party. Okay. These were victims. All of them. Yeah, all of them. We don't care what part they played in it. They did it because he made them do it. All right, listen, you get a woman like this, fellas, she ain't gonna see it no other way. She ain't gonna see it no other way. All right, and you might think it's just the fact that he a brother, but he could have been a Caucasian man. This lady would still be probably going just as hard. But the fact that he is a brother, he don't stand a chance in her eyes. Trust me, he done it. He did it, and if you let him out, he gonna do it again. All right, he deserved to be in that cell for the rest of his life, regardless of what the evidence said.
Proof was there,
Yeah.
the beatings, the threats that if they didn't go back into those rooms and get off with these male escorts, that they were going to get beaten. The testimony from that Daniel Phillip, who was the male escort, who heard Combs abusing Cassie behind the door, and she was screaming, I'm sorry, as he heard him slapping her. Get back out there. She came back out. She was shaking. She got back into the escort's lap, physically shaking. She was so scared to the point where that guy couldn't perform sexually because this was so horrifying to him. What in the actual F went on in there?
So Megan, let me I do this for 1 second, Phil. Because let me just get Megan more pissed off, if I may. So if the judge gives him a reasonable sentence, let's say he sends him to 5 years, okay, and he's already got time in, and with a halfway house, he's out in 3. How quick is he going to be accepted back into that Hollywood scene, blah, 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 blah? Or do you think people will still keep him at an arm's length?
I mean, look, I will make it my personal mission to maintain his humiliation in the minds of all Americans. There's no question he's fallen as this revered figure for a large portion of America, but he also has diehard fans who want to pretend this is a Johnny Depp situation, you know, where he was wrongfully accused, that's my own view, by somebody who was out to get him, who played the victim when in fact she was abusive. This is not that situation. This is not. Cassandra Ventura was an extremely sympathetic witness who was not some powerful, I'm going to play Kid Cudi against Sean Combs. She was traumatized by this guy.
Of course she was, fellas. Of course Cassie was. All right. Listen, she was a shrieking violet. She wasn't a willing participant in none of this. No. That big bad brother was the reason. All right. The jury just didn't see it that way. All right. And yeah, P Diddy is disgraced. All right. What is he going to do? I don't know. Because fellas, listen, this man was just on trial for his life. And it turned out to be that he was on trial for a big party. That all of these guys that live in that society that he live in have. All of these ladies, willing participants in these parties. Okay, listen, these police precincts all across the nation. All right, these ladies visit them all year long. They never pay these ladies no mind. You know when these stories start getting heard? The rumbling of these stories eventually start getting heard when they get ready to take one of them down. They start letting some of these stories get heard. Next thing you know, you can't stop hearing these stories. All right? And listen, this lady right here gonna believe every one of them. Every single one of them. She don't need no proof. They said it, and that's enough. And P. Diddy, he is disgraced. I don't know where he goes to get his life back. Okay, it's no way he can go to get his life back. Any move he would make and people would make with him gotta be behind the scenes. He ain't gonna never be the guy he was ever again.
To this day, given all that was done to her. Listen to this. I'm like, I almost don't even want to read these updates. New York Times, Sean Combs is now on his knees, his elbows on the chair where he was sitting, his head buried. He appeared to be praying. He started a round of applause, which was echoed by his family, who are jubilant. Yay, yay. We only have an abuser and solicitor of prostitutes in the family, not a sex trafficker. Sean Combs' supporters and family are now clapping and whistling for his legal team, who are all embracing each other. They actually did get a victory, and that's different. They should be hugging. Go ahead, Phil.
The judge is allowing that kind of thing in the court.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that also.
Yeah, what's that about?
Or maybe the judge is for this because, look, regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree with the verdict, there's a certain dignity and decorum that's only that's appropriate for courtrooms. And in federal courts, judges are famous for enforcing it, oftentimes much more so than at the state level. But look, back to your whole thing.
Well, this
Megan,
is a Biden appointee, so who knows about the dignity required. Sorry, keep going.
Family, this man really wasn't on trial for no hellified stuff. If you just listen to the charging documents, you would think this man really done something. But the judge was there. He sat on the bench the whole trial. He seen this was a big party, that y'all was trying to throw this man in jail for the rest of his life for a party. All right, that all of them was participating in.
We have to talk about what's going on, broken umbrella and all. It looks like the end is near for Diddy. It looks like Diddy is a goner. The jury has come back, I'm sure you guys already heard, and has already decided 4 out of the 5 counts. 4 out of the 5 counts the jury has come back with. Now, as you know, it can only go 2 ways, but y'all, it looks like the jury has already found Diddy guilty of 4 of the 5 counts. I saw the body language. I saw the way they're looking at Diddy. It looks like he is guilty out of 4 of the 5. What's the one count they can't decide on? The RICO. I'm going to tell you everything I saw, everything I have observed, Diddy's reactions, his family's reactions. But even when you get, hold on, let's stand right here. Even when you get into the RICO, you guys, they are demanding, hey, you too, get home safe. Even if, all right? Hold on, I have headphones. Maybe that'll make things easier for you guys. Even if, right? Even if here, you mind holding this really quick? Thanks. Even if, okay. All right. Okay, let's lock in. Even if they found him guilty out of 4 out of the 5 charts, they have not decided on the RICO. The prosecution and the defense said, tell them to go back in and decide. Why? Because the prosecution is betting on the fact that they found Diddy guilty. They're betting on the fact that they found Diddy guilty, okay? And if you found him guilty of 4 out of the 5 offenses, then you've had to find him guilty on the SMEX trafficking. It is a rule of law. This is also good that if it is a hung jury, what happens if it's a hung jury? The 4 out of 5 counts are already decided. If it is a hung jury, what they will actually do is they will take that charge and they will retry it. Would they retry the...
She don't know what she talking about, fellas. That's not a rule of law. And if it's a hung jury, they got a choice of whether they want to retry the case or not. Okay, this not a case worth retrying. Trust me. All right, this a big party. All right, these ladies don't like that they can't be victims at the end of the party, and it ain't gonna just keep working like that for them. This a serious blow to this believe all women. Trust me, that's what this is. Okay, you should have just believed all those women. All right, this lady didn't get invited to the party because we all know Miss Tisa Tells right here would have loved to have been able to get invited to the party. And then later, after everything didn't go her way and her singing career never took off and she ain't doing nothing, she would have loved to have been able to decide, hey, you know what? He was grooming me. You know what? I was a victim. Yeah, I was a victim. Hey, let me take a cab or Uber down to my local police station and let them know about this. Because, yeah, come to think about it, I was a victim. All right, Miss Tells, this lady, one of the ladies that never got invited to the party, and she should have been able to go too.
Okay, when they retry the case, this is what gets interesting, because when they retry the case, they can put on a better show. They can put on a better case. They can even look at the acts he was found guilty of and enter that in evidence for the new case. Y'all, listen, do we know if Diddy was found guilty on those 4 of the 5 acts? Of course not. We are not God, nor do we pretend to be. However, when it comes to that, let me tell you little clues that we saw. When they came back and said that they found 4 and 5 counts, it was like a bomb went off. When
A few hours later.
But guess what? We are here to talk about it all. Are y'all here with me? Let's get into this, right? Listen, Diddy has a long road. And let me get this straight, okay? Because we got to address the elephant in the room, okay? All these loser celebrities coming out of the woodwork supporting Diddy. Yeah, now you're supporting the right for people to get freaky. All these losers outside supporting Diddy. Are we going to address the elephant in the room? And the elephant in the room is what actually happened with the jurors. Because are we really trying to play gaslight a nation? The fact that the jurors voted that Cassie was not sex trafficked is a travesty of law. See, a lot of casual viewers might not know this, okay? Because I get it. Y'all busy with your lives. I was in that courtroom. Half these bloggers lying and making up stuff are in the courtroom. And for them to say that they never saw any evidence that Cassie was forced into a freak-off, when the intercontinental video, right, was evidence of a freak-off. See, Cassie was fleeing a freak-off, fleeing mid-freak-off. Cassie testified to that. The security person testified to it. The escort in the room. She was fleeing a freak-off. When Diddy came running out, he wasn't running out from the shower. He had those stupid Bob the Builder socks on his feet. The jury...
She made that up.
knew this. The jury was presented the evidence. And the jury looked at that and said, we do not care. Because can't stop, won't stop. Now, we can play Monday morning quarterback on what the prosecution maybe should have done better. Yeah, I get it. But at the end of the day, even by the way the judge responded to Diddy's bail hearing, okay? The judge also knew the jury messed up and also knew that the jury decided to go off of vibes and not the law. For the jury to say they saw no evidence, even one incident of Cassie not being willing for a freak off, I know Mark Agnifilo and them thought they did their big one, and I guess they did, by introducing...
No, you can't have proof that you was a willing participant in 99 of them and then expect people to take your word that you wasn't a willing participant in one of them. Okay, listen, a lot of this stuff, baby girl, you making up. All right, and the truth ain't in you. You a F-nist, and this big bad brother had to be guilty, and that's all to it. And listen, I understand where you're coming from. All right, it don't make you right, and it ain't gonna get you nowhere, and it ain't gonna get you invited to none of the parties. All right, you do your worst. You do your worst, because that brother getting out, whether you like it or not. Okay, he getting out. Yes, indeed. All right, thank you.